Hey guys, it is Mr. Zeri again, and today's topic is insects. I love insects. You know, insects, those creepy crawly things you sometimes see around the house, or maybe you've seen some on Merman campus. Could be an ant snacking on your lunch, or maybe it's a praying mantis hanging out on a leaf. Insects are all around us, and we should like it that way because insects are very, very, very important in ways you might not even know. See, insects help us humans in a variety of ways, right? They pollinate plants for us. They help eat the waste that we don't want anymore. And they're a food supply for lots of other animals we love, like birds and frogs. Without insects, the world would not be able to function the way we know it. So next time you see an insect crawling or flying nearby, just admire its uniqueness and let it do its thing. Did you know there's around 5 million different types of insects? Insects have become the most successful life forms on the planet. They can live in just about any habitat. You can find them in warm places like the desert, cold places like the snow, and you can find them in extreme places like volcanoes. Insects have been around for over 300 million years. In that time, they've evolved to do some really, really impressive stuff. And we don't have enough time to go over all the insects and all the impressive things they do, but I wanted to take some time to point out just a few. Some insects can do something known as mimicry. Mimicry is the resemblance of one plant or animal to another. An array of insects mimic other animals and plants in appearance, sounds, or behavior. Here's a couple really cool ones. The stick bug. The stick bug, sometimes called walking stick, stick insects began imitating plants as early as 126 million years ago. Their twig-like appearance helps them defend against predators that hunt by sight. So if something sees this bug, they might just dismiss it as a stick. A dead leaf mantis. So we all know about praying mantises, but some mantises imitate dead, broken, and decaying leaves. They do this both in color and in form. They have leaf patterns on their wings, and this dead leaf mantis also mimics the motion of a dead leaf. If something bothers this mantis, it'll just lay on its side and try to look like a dead leaf. Owl butterflies. These are super cool. Owl butterflies have large round eye spots on their wings, which resemble owl eyes. That's where they get their name, owl butterfly. If something sees this owl butterfly and wants to eat it, it might think, "Uh-oh, this isn't a butterfly. This is a bird." Another cool thing insects do is they communicate. They communicate with both organisms of the same species and with organisms of other species. Sometimes it could just be because they're looking for a mate. Maybe they want to warn others of their presence, or maybe they want to let their friends know about a place where they can find food. Insects communicate in a variety of ways. Here are some of the most interesting ways insects communicate. Did you know fireflies talk to each other with light? Fireflies emit light mostly to attract mates, but they also communicate for other reasons, such as defending territory and warn predators away. See, they'll flash their lights in patterns, and each pattern means a different message. Another type of insect that communicates is a bark beetle. Just like the name suggests, bark beetles love to eat the bark of trees. They prefer to eat as a big group. That way, it makes it easier to get around the tree's defenses. Once an individual bark beetle finds just the right type of tasty tree, That beetle will emit a chemical message known as a pheromone. This chemical message floats in the air and can be smelled by other bark beetles. Once the other bark beetles smell that message, they know exactly where to go to help devour the newfound meal. Another cool thing about insects is their different kinds of mouth parts. Some insects have something known as a mandible, which are like pinchers. It can grab a meal and put it in its mouth. Other insects, known as bugs, have piercing and sucking mouth parts. So, first, I want to talk a little bit about those bugs. Bugs, also known as true bugs, are a group of insects that is very large. There's about 75,000 different species of bugs. Many of them are very different from each other, but all of these bugs have piercing and sucking mouth parts. They use these mouth parts to stick into a plant or another insect and suck the juices out. My favorite true bug is the leaf-footed bug because of its cool hind legs that look like little leaves. And another cool thing about these leaf-footed bugs is you can find them right here in California, maybe even in your backyard if you have any fruit trees. Now let's check out some of the cool mandibles, specifically the mandibles of the Dobson fly and the stag beetle. Male Dobson flies have mandibles that are just as long as its body. So its mouth is as big as the rest of its body. This makes it excellent at catching other insects to feed on. Dobson flies live near rivers and lakes and have evolved to become the top insect predator in that environment. Did you know another name for a deer is a stag? Well, there's a particular beetle whose mandibles look just like the antlers of a deer. And that beetle is called a stag beetle. Males use these giant mandibles as weapons to fight each other for the right to mate with a female beetle. So, those are just a few examples of some of the most interesting things insects can do. Hopefully, you enjoyed this video, and maybe, just maybe, you have a better appreciation for what insects have to offer.